As Auburn kicks off SEC play versus Oklahoma, is it time to panic over the defense?
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Sir, we're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast bonus edition with my man Ben Taylor from the Auburn Network. I hope everybody's enjoying their Tuesday. We're going to talk a little bit Oklahoma, guys. Is it time to panic over the defense? We're going to discuss that. Really look at that in deep. Do we have a wide receiver separation issue? And is it a function of the offense or is it route running? Is it talent? We'll talk about that, and then we'll just have an overall outlook as far as how the game should play out on Saturday. Before we get started, let's give a quick shout out to rowback.com. Use coupon code BARN20 to take 20% off. Ben, you just made a rowback purchase with this coupon.
I did.
Code, right?
Use BARN20.
Let's go. Save big.
Very lot of print. You know me, Kyle. A lot of print.
Definitely. Ben hit up the prints for sure. So if you want Auburn licensed apparel, they got that as well. So show them some love. It's rowback.com.
I may be having Auburn shirt on next time that has rowback. I may or may not next time we visit. Just
which one did you get?
Say little teaser. It's not which one, it's which two.
Which
and if my wife finds out that I've been online late, it may be which 3 or 4 I get before it's all said and done. The good news is with SEC play beginning, I had no choice to go that route. So speaking of SEC play beginning, and there was a lot of concern, online chatter about our defense because of what South Alabama did. Now,
which wasn't that much.
Not that much. My retort to that is there was a lot of base play, in my opinion, out of the defense, along with a lot of we didn't stun as much. We didn't send a lot of folks. We didn't you had freshmen in there as they were trying to get some playing time. But I think that there is a need for concern when you've got Oklahoma coming up and you've got Mateer, who has done what he's done to some of the teams they've played against. So I think there's a little cause for concern and maybe some panic if they kind of get into that realm. I don't think that they will, but bend but don't break does great against South Alabama and Ball State. I don't know that it's going to do great against Oklahoma and Texas A&M, especially on the road.
All right, so let's talk about South Alabama. Okay, a lot of people, again, I have never in my life, the melt over what happened on Saturday is beyond me because it just doesn't take that much effort to really look into the whole aspect, like everything, all the details of the game, okay? Auburn gave up 9 points in the first half. Very little yardage in the first half. They had South Alabama had, I think, 5 drives. They kicked a field goal, threw an interception, had a punt, and had a touchdown. Okay? And then in the second half, I think this all triggered when Amaris Williams got hurt. Okay? He got hurt early in the first half and came out. He had a separated shoulder. It popped right back in. But I think you're playing really good ball, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, do we continue and put anybody at risk, or do we start subbing in a lot of folks and rotating folks and things like that? And then in the second half, they kicked a field goal. I'm sorry, they scored a touchdown. They had a fumble, and then they had a turnover on downs. Okay, that's what they did in the second half. Yes, there was 2 drives where it seemed like they moved the ball through the air at times with ease. And there was times where they got bailed out by a penalty that extended a drive. I just don't really understand the melt right now over what we saw from South Alabama. Like in that game, I really don't understand. I've heard the term carved up.
I wouldn't say that.
And I don't know that that's even remotely accurate. Now, The spread was 25 points. You won by what, 16? I get it. And I think, honestly, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think especially Auburn fans, you look at the reason you feel the way you feel is because Alabama beat Louisiana Monroe 73-0 or whatever it was, or 73-3. And you can't just look at Auburn and what Auburn's doing.
Yeah.
It's oh God, we're panicking because we can't beat teams as bad as Alabama can beat them. It's really interesting. Now, I understand also you've seen John Mateer have some success. I think I challenge you to really look at the last two games. To me, the last two games are not the otherworldly as mega impressive as he was against Illinois State. I don't think he's bad by any means, but this idea that there's no way that Auburn can win, we got to panic, we're going to go less than 500 in conference and all this stuff. I'm not there. I'm not even remotely there yet.
I think that a lot of people there, though, Kyle, because of a combination of things. Number one, I think if Auburn scores one more touchdown for some reason, I don't know why, but I told this to a buddy of mine. I think if they score one more touchdown, and even if that's the score in the second half, fans are not as freaked out. And that's got nothing to do with the defense, but I just, for some reason, think that – and that still wouldn't have covered, by the way, even if they would have scored an extra one. Would have?
Sure.
Wasn't the line 25
and a half, I think.
Yeah, so it still wouldn't have covered, but still, I think fans would have, I don't know, it would have put their mind at ease if one more score would have been on the board and you would have had Deuce playing a little bit more or something in the set. Like, I think
that was frustrating to me that the way the second half played out, we only got the ball twice. Like they held the ball a long time. We held the ball a long time in those two drives. There was 5 total offensive drives in the second half. Like, there just wasn't a lot of opportunities. It almost seemed to me like both teams wanted to get the heck out of there. South Alabama was like, we got our $1.3 million. We're good to get out. Auburn was like, let's just get out of this thing. We've got a couple of guys dinged up. Let's just get out and try to get healthy for Oklahoma. Look, I think you saw the way Auburn played against Baylor. I think Baylor's offense is vastly more impressive than Oklahoma. Sawyer Robertson is a better quarterback, in my opinion, than John Mateer, and he's proved it against us. He proved it against SMU. He's really good, okay? And Auburn does play a bend, don't break version of defense. That's the way this defense works. You see them, it feels like teams go up and down the field, and then you turn around and they only score 21 points. That's the way it's been for 3 years now. And I don't think, like, all of a sudden Auburn's going to have this defense to where you're going to have 10 sacks and they're only going to have 100 yards of total offense. I just don't think that's what you're ever going to see. So can Auburn play that bend, don't break and make Oklahoma have to drive the field and maybe end in field goals or going for it on fourth down and having big stops? We're acting surprised at all of a sudden. And this is the same defense we've seen. We saw it last year, and the defense gave us almost a chance to win in every single game. We just couldn't help it on the offense. So I feel like we got a better, more balanced offense this year, and the same defense with a lot of young guys that are making plays. I really don't get the freak out. We carved them up on offense in the first half in Jordan Hare last year, and then we had the issues that we had.
Oh boy.
I'm not really understanding the panic.
I would even venture to say this is not a bend but don't break defense. I call this an adjustment defense because it seems like every game, and I don't know if this is a Durkin thing or not, it could be, but it seems like that first or second possession, it seems like the opposing team, regardless of who it is able to get down the field on Auburn, and Auburn not able to get off the field on third down. And all of a sudden, it's almost like, okay, they've put everything on tape. We know where everybody is. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to tighten up. Like, I would venture to say if Auburn could get through that first, second, or third drive without a team making a push down the field and ending in points, I think fans would probably not freak out as much. But, again, that's not what you're going to get. I think that this defense and defensive staff makes a lot of adjustments within the game that after something is done to them, they end up getting back on the sideline, getting in front of the iPads, taking a look at some stuff and going, okay, and it gets fixed throughout the game. Clearly. I mean, that's what took place in the second half. You just talked about it. Second half, yes, I understand they put points up, but if Auburn puts up points, you guys aren't saying anything. It's just the fact that South Alabama outscored Auburn in the second half, so it didn't look great. So, yeah, I'm not freaking out yet. However, I will, and this will lead to our next topic as well. If we continue to leave people wide open as far as, especially on second long or third and long, and I'm not talking leaving them open just under the sticks and then they break free for first down. I'm talking leaving them wide open out in the field of play. And I know that we'll get to that here momentarily because I think that reflects on Auburn as well as reflects on Auburn's offense as well as it does the defense.
Yeah, to me, the biggest storyline is Auburn's offense versus Oklahoma's defense. I think that's what's going to decide the game because the Auburn defense, it's going to be the same. It's going to be bend, don't break, and they're going to make some plays or they're not. And then if they don't, Auburn's going to have to be able to score to keep up. So we'll talk about offense in just a second. We'll be back right after this.
Kyle, this is not a this year problem. This is a problem that I've had with Auburn for many years because my old roommate and I have always talked about this. How is it that teams throughout college football, as well as teams that we play, have receivers that are wide open that they hit, and there's not a defender within 10 yards of them?
Mm-hmm.
But Auburn doesn't seem to have that. Now, we saw it a couple of times this past weekend with Singleton. There were a couple of times where he found a hole in the defense and sat, and there wasn't anybody within 7-8 yards of him. And so but I'm talking these guys that you see. Take the Florida game, for instance. Even though the touchdown got called back, that guy was wide open, 25 yards downfield, and it wasn't a blown assignment. It just seems other teams are able to do that, and Auburn is not. Is that a route issue? Is that a separation issue? Is that a youth issue? Or here's a novel idea, Kyle. What if our offense hasn't shown everything that they have to do yet, and they're saving it for SEC play?
Well, look, we had one of the most explosive offenses through the air in the country last year. Could really, I felt like there was a lot more opportunities last year vertically than there has been so far this year. Maybe not opportunities, not the right word. We just showed that we were able to stretch the field vertically a lot more last year than we were this year. You did see, I guess it was 3 times that Jackson completed passes over the middle to what I felt like was one of those scenarios where nobody's around Eric Singleton. I think he did it 3 times. The offense does have a lot of the comebacks and a lot of the digs. And I think that's a lot of the function of the RPO. I think that's you're reading and reacting, and a lot of those are quick hitter throws. I don't think Auburn really has a ton of those long developing routes where, it seems like, again, like you said, it seems like the guys running wide open. Maybe we haven't seen those yet. They were running a lot of those mesh concepts Saturday, and that freed up Eric Singleton across the middle. Maybe you see that continue to develop.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm not really concerned about separation as much as I am, we don't really push the ball vertically at all quite yet. And I don't really know the reason. I think why it seems we don't have anybody wide open right now is because of the type of offense they're running. Again, tons of shots to the perimeter where it's like, you beat a guy one-on-one for a dig and it's like an 8-yard completion, and then you got somebody on him right there. We're not really pushing the ball down the field. He did push it to Cam and scored a touchdown. You pushed it to Malcolm down the field earlier in the year against Baylor. Those shot plays aren't quite there yet, and I don't really know if it's the way that we're being defended just really puts us to where we can't. It's hard for us to take advantage of it. I don't really know the answers. I do think you got to be able to push the ball down the field, though. That's how. I mean, think about the touchdowns we scored on Oklahoma. Like all of them early in the game were vertical shots. Malcolm hit a big vertical shot. Cam had one, and then I think also maybe KLS had one.
KLS had one, I think, or at least I don't know if it scored, but I think he got down like inside the 10.
Yeah, big shots down the field. I think that's definitely going to be something that Auburn's going to have to take advantage of, and maybe when you play a team like Oklahoma, who is known for having a really good defense, and they don't necessarily have to cheat one way or the other. Like they don't have to cheat deep. They just feel like they're good enough. Maybe that opens up opportunities. And then maybe it's, hey, run the ball, soften it up, and that will open up some deep shots. I do get where you're coming from, because I had a show, I think last week, where I want to see more vertical shots. I want to see that, because I think that's like the next level of this offense. That's like the one thing you haven't been able to see is being able to hit shots vertically.
And this is not a bash on Jackson Arnold.
Yeah.
But they, via the replay, because I didn't see it either in real time, he did miss 2. So it's not routes. We're sending him out there. He missed 2, but now one, the pocket collapsed on him, so he wouldn't have got anything on that throw anyway. And another one, he just flat out missed. He broke containment, and the throw was there, the time was there, and he was looking left when the receiver was open right. And so maybe that's what he was told to read, or maybe he just got happy feet and he ended up, and he got a gain out of it. But when you look back at it, we had a guy running who had his man beat. He wasn't wide open, but he definitely had 2 steps on the guy.
Yeah,
and it could have been thrown, and it wasn't. So
the only problem I have with those angles is they only show the receiver when they show those replays. Like they don't show
this replay was from behind Jackson, so it was actually Jackson's view, and he missed him. I forgot who it was.
I haven't seen that replay. I saw the Eric Singleton one early in the game where they split to Eric Singleton, but you can't see what Jackson's doing. So maybe I missed something, but and that's possible.
And again, the one that they showed that was from behind Jackson, it was like the sky cam view or whatever from behind him that they showed. Like the pocket collapsed. If he would have thrown, his arm probably would have been hit. I mean, he had to get it. So when everybody goes, oh, he's like, because even the announcer said, oh, he's got a guy open downfield. Well, you can have all 5 of them can be open, but if he's being tugged on, he can't throw it to any of them. So I didn't have as much of an issue with that one as a lot of people did. Even online, they were like, he's missing guys downfield. I'm like, well, he's also got people hanging off of him. So you can't throw it 35 yards downfield when somebody's tugging at your jersey. It just is not, it's not doable. So, so I don't know if it's there and he's just missing it right now, or as I said, I still think the game plan, we're going to see it. I honestly, even though people have pushed back on me on this, I think we will see a different offensive game plan now that SEC play has begun. I mean, some of the same, but I just think you're going to see some stuff that they didn't want to put on tape that we will see, especially these next couple of weekends with Oklahoma and A&M.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair.
Take a look at, speaking of Oklahoma and prediction, because you just said storyline. We'll get back to that. Storyline's going to be, Auburn's offense against their defense. So defensively, listen, we threw the ball right to them last year. So I don't want to give their defense a ton of credit, because we were whipping them all over the field in the first half, and then all of a sudden we started just giving them the football after that. So, that's the game that everybody got frustrated because Jarquez just ran all over them as well. So do we see that out of Damari? Because he should be back and fine on Saturday. So do we see the run game that seemed to work well last year to set up the pass? Do we see a lot of that come Saturday as far as Auburn's offense versus Oklahoma's defense?
I mean, it's really tough to know. I mean, like last year, I say you heard them. I mean, it was what, 14-7, I think, at halftime. He had two big touchdown drives, only up a score, and then I think he scored again to get it 21-10, and that's when kind of the wheels fell off. I think the key to this offense is balance. Last year, I felt like I know Jarquez was quote unquote running all over him, but I felt like we had to do a lot of things to be able to get him the ball, because it wasn't real. Peyton wasn't really a natural RPO quarterback, right, whereas Jackson is. And I think that helps this whole scenario, because and I think that's why the running game has been so effective, because we've been able to run the offense without formationing a lot different to be able to run the ball. So I think that's what makes this offense tough to defend. Peyton threw for 338 yards last year, 3 touchdowns. I mean, he had a pretty good game, except for the big interception right there at the end. Didn't run the ball particularly great outside of Jarquez. He had 17 carries for 97 yards. We just kind of got in those bogged down modes a few times, and Oklahoma did what they did to get back in the game. So I feel like you're better. You're more balanced offensively. Now you just got to see it on the road versus Oklahoma. I'm really curious to see how Jackson responds, because I got to imagine the weight of the world is on his shoulders headed into this game, like feeling like the blame for last year was placed on you, and wanting to go back and prove them wrong to the school. You grew up idolizing. So
yeah,
a lot on the line there. And then how does the defense respond to all the criticism? And is John Mateer really as good as we think he is? Again,
I think Jackson shines on Saturday.
I hope so.
And the only reason being is he just comes across as that type dude where it's he wants to get you back. He wants to prove you wrong. And my thing is I just don't want him to push too much.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I don't
want him to press too hard. I don't want him to let that moxie that he has kind of take over and him force some issues, or keep a ball when he should have given it to Demario on an RPO because he wants to prove them wrong and get to the outside and pick up 15 or 20, but instead he gets stopped behind the line, or force a throw that's not there because they've told him in the past at the previous school that he doesn't need to make that throw and he's out there to prove him wrong that he can. So I think if he stays within himself and just plays his game,
take the Baylor mindset. If he takes the Baylor mindset, make the right plays, be patient, get 4 yards, and move on to the next play, stay ahead of the chains. I think that's really all you have to do. Don't do too much. It's going to be hard for Auburn to go in, I think, and win it in Oklahoma. They just don't lose there very often.
Nope.
But we don't have enough experience there. It's not like Death Valley where you have that pressure of going, oh my God, we got to go to Death Valley. We can't win there. That's one thing I think that's an advantage. I don't think it's not something that you don't have like a monkey on your back as far as going into Norman and trying to pick up a win. So that may be something to work in Auburn's favor. We'll see what happens.
I think it's an advantage. It's a 2:30 game.
Yeah, I think so too.
Instead of a night game. I think anytime it's a day game, I think the road team has an advantage over the home team as far as I think night games, and whenever you're on the road at night, it is tough to win anywhere, regardless if that's Norman, Death Valley, Kentucky. It doesn't matter where it is. If it is a night game on the road, it is hard for you to win, period. Yep. And so I think that it gets, I'm not going to say easier to win, but it gets more manageable when it's a day game, 2:30, 11 a.m., whatever it is, if you're the road team.
Right now, it's a 6.5 point spread favoring Oklahoma, and I think that's about right. I think it's about I think it could be about should be about a touchdown game. I'm not going to melt if Auburn goes in there and can't win. I think they really need to win one of the next two to really keep the momentum. But we'll see. I don't think there's anything that I've seen that makes me think Auburn can't win, but they're going to have to play really well. So we'll see what happens. Guys, let us know what you think in the comments. Ben, appreciate it, my man. We'll be back again soon. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay button.
Thanks for listening, and drive home safely.